the chairperson, distinguished members of the Governing Council, esteemed delegates, partners, and friends of the Common Fund for Commodities, thank you for giving me the opportunity to join you even from afar. I had hoped to sit with you in person, to breathe in the same energy of your deliberations, to listen not only with my ears, but also with my presence. Yet, I trust that purpose travels faster than distance, and I believe that one day soon, I will stand among you and feel the warmth and resolve that the CFC family is known for. I speak to you today, not only as the United Nations Global Advocate for Peace, but as a poet who has come to understand that peace is not merely the silence that follows conflict. Peace is the architecture of justice. Peace is opportunities shared. Peace is the soft landing place built by systems that choose fairness over fear. And in this spirit, I want to begin by honoring the CFC. For decades, the Common Fund for Commodities have walked into the corners of this world, into fields and cooperatives, into processing sheds and marketplaces where global statistics become human stories. You have invested in people whose labor sustains nation, but whose names are rarely spoken in the corridors of power. You have reminded the world that development is not a theory, it is a life changed, a livelihood strengthened, a life reclaimed. Let me say this clearly. The CFC works where the world fractures are deepest and where its hopes are most fragile. Yet you work with patience, with expertise, and with belief in the dignity of every human being. There is a line I often say, that peace is the silent triumph of fairness over fear. And this is what your work represents. You bring fairness into places where volatility once ruled. You carve pathways where barriers once stood. You create possibility where uncertainty used to live. Your commitment to impact investing, sustainability, and partnership tells a powerful story. The economic transformation becomes enduring when dignity becomes its foundation. Community, value chains, and peace. My belief in humanizing value chains is rooted in a simple truth. Peace flourishes only when communities feel seen. Across global value chains, millions of producers live at the periphery of prosperity, invisible to the very markets their hands sustain. That invisibility is not merely economic, it is communal, emotional, and political. When markets scale and states centralize without anchoring themselves in the lives of real people, community weakens. And when community weakens, the ground cracks open for frustration, fragility, and the kind of disillusionment that fuels instability. But see, when we restore dignity to those at the foundation of these chains, when farmers, workers, and small producers are not just included, but empowered, the entire story changes. Because exclusion breeds backlash, but inclusion builds belonging. And belonging is the soil where peace grows its strongest roots. Youth-conscious consumers and justice in every transaction. As the global advocate for peace, I have also taken it upon myself to reach out directly to the young generation of consumers, our Gen Z and millennials, whose choices will define the moral economy of tomorrow. I remind them that every product they touch carries a human journey, the journey of a farmer, a worker, a community, and I encourage them to ask the silent but powerful question: how much of what I pay goes back to the hands that made this possible? For too long, the distance between producers and consumers has grown so wide that empathy has fallen through the gap. But when young people begin to see that a cup of coffee, a bar of chocolate, a piece of clothing is not just an object, but a story of human labor, awareness turns into agency. And this is our shared responsibility, not only as advocates and policy makers, but as conscientious consumers. Each of us casts a vote with our wallet. Every purchase is actually a sound that we make that the world we want has to have justice. And when it is delivered transaction by transaction, and in us choosing fairness, we nurture both prosperity and peace. I have also learned that while CFC faces an overflowing demand for its support, the resources to meet the demand remains far too limited. The needs of community outpace the means available to serve them. And so I must speak with honesty. This gap is not only financial. It reveals the world's priorities. It reflects the distance between the people who sustain our global economy and the recognition that they receive. And that is why today, I appeal directly to businesses and global brands, from Nestle to Unilever, from Starbucks to Barry to Callebaut, from Mars to Cargill, Olam, Glencore, and many others whose supply chains run deep into the soil of the global south. And I appeal, even more urgently, to donor countries whose commitment breathes life into multilateral institutions. I urge you to step forward with commitment, with courage, and with conscience. Because when you support the CFC, you're not simply funding an institution, you're strengthening the communities that make our industries, your industries, possible. You're investing in the farmers who grow the cocoa in your chocolate, the coffee in your cups, the cotton in your clothing, the tea in your mornings, the cashews in your snacks, the grains that nourish your nations, and the raw materials that power your economies. Every dollar directed to the CFC is a seed planted in the soil of shared prosperity, a seed that grows into dignity, stability, and the foundations of peace. This is not charity. This is reciprocity. This is justice in motion. Let me leave you with one final poetic truth. When we honor the hands that lift the world itself learns to stand in peace. Because wherever we are born, in Somalia or Sweden, Belgium or Bangladesh, Nigeria or Norway, we will not be remembered for the passports we held or the borders we crossed. We will be known for the impact we made, for the lives that we touched, for the justice we pursued, and for the dignity we defended, especially for those who stand at the beginning of every value chain. This is the work the CFC has done for years. This is the work I proudly stand beside. And this is the work that will define us as a generation that chose fairness over fear, and partnership over indifference, and peace over passivity. Thank you for your leadership, your integrity, and your vision. And though I am not with you in person, I am with you in purpose. And I look forward to the day when we join our voices, not across a screen, but side by side, as we continue to shape a world worthy of the people that we serve. Thank you. I remain Maryam Bukar Hassan.